When Sesame Street aired in Japan, the show was broadcast in English only. To me, as a little kid, the Muppets speaking in English I couldn't understand. They were like aliens from Tatooine and Star Wars. Incomprehensible, unsettling, chaotic. They were the definition of scary. Today, I want to talk about how Sesame Street was experienced in Japan through my memories. One thing I want to say up front, I don't dislike the Muppets anymore, and I want to talk about how that happened. I don't remember my very first impression, but I know that pretty early on, I did not like them. Like I said, Sesame Street in Japan aired in English, just English, raw. So we had no idea what they were talking about, no idea what was happening in the story. They just shook their faces, screamed something, waved their arms around like they were trying to tell us something. Joy, anger, sadness. I fought to keep myself from getting swept up in it. Even when a Muppet filled the whole screen with a giant open mouth laughing, it was not a happy scene, it was madness. All I could do was sit there and wait for the laughter to stop. That's what Sesame Street was to me. I had no idea what any of the characters were called, of course. The big blue one, the big yellow bird thing, that was about as far as my understanding went. There was no way of knowing what their personalities were like. Still, I tried my best to make sense of them. Sesame Street had real humans in it too, so it made sense that animals and monsters and Dracula types would be Muppets. But these two were different. They were probably human, and yet also Muppets. Those sleepy eyes, that sluggish way of talking, vague, undefined features, hair that didn't look quite alive. My conclusion at the time was that they must have been humans who had been turned into Muppets. I was terrified. What if something happened and my family got turned into Muppets too? These were all misunderstandings that came from not understanding English and from watching too much Star Wars at the time. The Muppets were innocent. So there I was at war with Sesame Street every time it came on. But then the laughter from the TV was met with smiles from my parents too. My mom and dad had been watching Sesame Street and something had gotten to them. The unease became something closer to alarm. What if those two came to our house one day and turned my parents into Muppets? Then one day, my parents brought me a Sesame Street book. In Japan, since there were no subtitles or dubbing, these translated books were sold. In other words, this was a welcome guide to the Muppet world. I knew it. It was over. I had to stop showing any interest in Sesame Street to protect my family. From that point on, I stopped watching. It was a small decision made by someone very young, and that decision meant I had lost to Sesame Street. Several years passed since I'd walked away from Sesame Street. I had grown up a little, and the fear, the anxiety, the battles I'd fought back then, I was slowly starting to file them away as one bitter memory. Then one day, I turned on the TV, and Sesame Street was on. Everyone was speaking Japanese. I could actually follow the story. I stared for a second, and something hollow settled in my chest. What is this? This isn't Sesame Street. It was such a strange feeling. The version of Sesame Street I had wanted as a kid was right there in front of me, and I couldn't accept it. It felt like a rival I had once fought had given in to someone else entirely, and I felt responsible somehow. Like maybe if I had kept watching, this wouldn't have happened. Of course, that made no sense at all. After that, I chased after the Muppets who spoke English, like I was trying to win them back. I replaced my school supplies with Sesame Street ones, the kind with English speech bubbles. I still didn't understand the English. I got a character piggy bank. I read books, collected information, took in everything I could about them. It didn't take long before people around me started saying, "RJ, do you like Sesame Street?" Not at all. I was simply paying respect to those hours I spent facing them. There was no contradiction in that. That's just what Sesame Street is to me. The one thing I'll say I'm frustrated about, the Muppets learned to speak Japanese, and I still can't speak English.